Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Wednesday, April 24th, 2019 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I am fully here for this revolution evolution. And we are in our first revolution evolution day of Sun in Taurus, which we will dig into. But first we're going to dig into the Pluto retrograde. So we have Pluto retrograde, or Pluto going retrograde, today. It begins today, Capricorn, 23 degrees, and we'll be going all the way through October. Can you believe that? October and 20 degrees Capricorn energy. So if you have anything between 23 and 20 degrees in Capricorn, or even the signs of Libra, Cancer, or Aries, you are definitely going to be feeling this energy and really working with this Pluto energy. Now, one of the keys with Pluto, one of the things I say with Pluto is that Pluto is a plutonic colonic energy. Pluto is so working for us. It's not always the easiest planet. It is one of our superhero power agents, of planetary agents of change. Even though I coined it, I can never get it out right. So Pluto works with us to change us, transform us, grow us, ultimately empower us. But it's not necessarily easy. Again, the plutonic colonic, it brings up all the stuff that we do need to face. So you do want to check your chart and see if you have any energies in those places that you're working with, because that could bring a challenge. Pluto in our chart is responsible for some of the lightest light, that power that you can fully utilize in your life, in your purpose energy. It can also represent the darkest dark and the shadows that we need to face and the power struggles and the place where we can fall into victim. Now, what is interesting, and I feel like this is the point of this retrograde, we're building into a crazy conjunction with Pluto and Saturn, and that's going to happen late this year, early next year. But they're already mingling. They're already working together a little bit, this Saturn and Pluto energy. They're within an orb of each other. They're close. And the South Node has been like, hey, you see how you're working together? This, I think, is the key. Starting to work together with these Saturn karmic, plutonic, transformational energies. One of the things that I feel so strongly is that this is about, there's kid and chaos happening in the background. This is about taking responsibility for your power, ultimately, as they come together. Saturn reminds us of our purpose, but Saturn takes us into some of these, karmic situations that we have to work through. These are part of the road to your purpose. Pluto reminds us of our ultimate power, but will take us through those phoenix moments where we have to basically die to ourselves, die to the ego, in order to show up transformed, in order to step into our power. And there's lots of myths. Inanna is who pops into my head at this point right now that tell this story so that we can connect to it. Or even the hero's journey has pieces of this where we have to go down into the cellar, into the depths of ourselves. So Pluto retrograde is a return to ourselves. Any retrograde pulls us inward to do the inward work, into our basements, into our cellars, into the places where we have fear around our responsibility, where we have fears around our purpose, where we carry the victim. And, sometimes the victim can benefit us. There's a place where the ego wants to protect us, and the ego's like, I can't do that because this has happened to me and I'm not good enough. So you don't have to step into all that power that you have. We all have those times that we do that. So it's, again, no shame in any of this. I am not removed from any of this information myself. It's just bringing the awareness, and the awareness that we have to go there. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. Joseph Campbell. So, with Pluto retrograde, we are taking a trek into our underworld, into the underworld of ourselves, to dig deep into these things that keep us from knowing our power, that keep us from fully seizing our power. This is a really good time to dig into the root chakra. If you have root chakra issues, Pluto, to me, very much connects to the root chakra. Get grounded, connect in. The universe is always reminding you of your purpose. And so sometimes in order to be reminded of that, getting into nature, into that place where it's clear from the other distractions, can be very helpful. But just keep in mind that anything that comes up, any of this transformational work that comes up, is about connecting you to your power so you can step into your next level of responsibility, so you can step into this soul purpose energy that you came to embody, that you came to live. I pulled a card for Pluto retrograde. I was like, okay, give me a card for them, for Pluto retrograde, for us, all of us. And I pulled the sorrow card. And so there are sorrows. There are things that need to be faced. For me, I carry in this life so much ancestral and past life stuff that I've had to process. And it's come with sorrows. It's come with those times where I'm like just crying over what seems like a little thing, and yet its roots are so deep within me. And if I keep traveling down the route, I ultimately find where that beginning was and can pull it up and, empower myself through the process. So just be aware, there are going to be sorrows. I think this summer, in which Pluto's going to be retrograde, this summer is going to have a lot of a lot of emotion for us to process through the eclipses and through our next Mercury retrograde, and that'll probably be a big time when this shows up for us. But be aware and allow yourself to feel. A lot of our power is in allowing the feeling, and that's part of what the North Node is trying to tell us at this time, moving through Cancer. Allow yourself to feel. There is healing there. Okay, so Pluto retrograde. May the force be with you. In fact, it is. Besides that, to kick this off, we have the sun today at 4 degrees, which is that revolution, evolution, Uranus energy, which means it wants to trigger us. It wants to poke us. And that's the thing, is that, the first day of Taurus, what I spoke about is being available to the things that are worthy in your life, to make time for them, to make space for them. And that's the thing. It's like, be fully here for the revolution evolution process, for the trigger process, because it's here to serve you. It's here to help you. And I want you to remind yourself of that if you are triggered at all through this day, whether it is through the Pluto process or it is through this revolution evolution process of bringing stuff up to reveal yourself, to reveal your truth. Be fully here for it. Instead of like, Chris is triggered again. Be like, yes, cha-ching, another place within me that I can release these things that are keeping me from my highest and my best. So keep that in mind. That being said, the moon is not making this easy on us either. The moon is in Capricorn, which re-edifies the lesson around responsibility. It pushes that soul purpose energy, but it can push that other level of Capricorn energy, and that other level of Capricorn energy is that energy of like, I must look good in society, I must keep climbing the ladder, let me be on top of the world. Be on top of your world instead of on top of the world, if that makes sense. Keep that in mind. Your highest happiness is not going to be on top of somebody else's world, on top of somebody else's ladder. Get off of their cloud. Come back to your own. Come back to your own ladder and keep striving for your highest and best, which is full embodiment of that soul energy, soul purpose energy, soul mission energy. So Moon in Capricorn is going to be squaring Venus and Mercury, both in Aries. So Aries brings us that I am energy, connects us to who we are on the deepest level, and yet the moon may have some emotional response, emotional reaction as you keep working this process of developing a deeper relationship with yourself. But notice, it is your responsibility whether you are going to carry society's messages within you, society's projections within you, all of the shoulds within you. That's up to you to say, no more. I shall not engage with this. So the moon square Venus asking us to really find the worth in who we are, create a love affair with our truest selves. This is also at 4 degrees today. So also working that revolution, evolution. You may have triggers around who you are today. Be aware of that. Be aware of your emotional responses. Your emotional responses are telling you, oh my God, this isn't going to fly anymore. This isn't how I want to be in the world anymore. So pay attention to that. The next connection, that square with Mercury at 10 degrees. 10 degrees representing the worth thing. So there we have that again. That energy is reminding us that we can change how we are going to think about this process. Again, we do not have to take on the shoulds, but it really is a mastery process and a process of personal understanding as we move forward in this. But I love this. We've got the success. We've got the eye of the tiger. Should you be able to keep coming back around to all of this? So finally, we have that Pluto retrograde. What time is Pluto going retrograde at? Pluto is going retrograde at 11:48 a.m. So these connections are happening all in the morning, getting it done. Morning Pacific time at least. One last thing that I didn't mention about the Pluto retrograde. I do feel, being that Pluto is retrograde at 23 degrees, 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 is the degree representing change. It also represents mental energy. There is going to be understanding through this process. Go deep. Listen. Be understanding for the processes that do come up for this, and that will hold space for the understanding to come about. When we're willing to listen, when we're willing to see beyond what we think we know, which is part of that Jupiter process, the willingness to open up to things beyond what we think we know, we are supported and answers come. So just be aware of that. Finally, I have the compromise card. When we are falling under somebody else's rules, somebody else's shoulds that do not align with our souls, we're compromising our very basis of who we are. And so this is part of the empowerment, to no longer undermine that, to no longer compromise these most important parts of ourselves. So I think I will end it with that. If you would like to book a reading with me, email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. Besides that, take a second. What are you grateful for? Maybe you're grateful for this revolution, evolution trigger process. Hooray! Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There is more than enough love in the world for you, and you do have the power. I promise. Namaste.